What's going on, boys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well. This is going to be a little weird one. I was going to try and pretend like I didn't lose footage or anything like that, but I'm editing the video for the E92 and somehow my introduction, I don't know what happened to it. Footage is not there. So what you're about to see is me starting on working on the E92 and the TCK suspension, TC Kline. Some of the nicest coilovers I've ever bought, or let me rephrase, the most I've ever spent on coilovers. We'll get into the review on those in another video. Let's just say it's a little tricky, but for now I just wanted to kind of bridge the gap because it was a little bit of a weird introduction on this since it was missing the intro. But anyway, hope you guys are doing well. Here's the video, but first, since I didn't have the Puggle footage, say hi to him, bud. He's not about it today. All right, let's get to work on the car. All right, so just like that, some magic happened. E36 out there, sad. Time to get started on this. I think the first thing I'm gonna do is unbox these wheels because I need to put them in the back of the truck so I can take them to Discount Tire to go get the tires mounted. I ended up going with Bridgestone Potenza RE71Rs. I have PS4s on the E36. I like them, but man, once you drive them on the track, I feel like they get kind of beat up pretty quickly. And I don't know, they don't make for a good street tire after you drive them on the track. But anyway, we'll get into a tire review after. For now, I gotta unbox these wheels so you guys can see what I actually went with. So let me get some stuff organized in here, and I'll catch you in a second. All right, boys. Nice. I don't think you guys are gonna be surprised with the rims that I went with, but I did kind of go with an upgrade. You'll see. Oh, there we got it, boys. So, if you go on Apex's website, they have a fitment guide. I went with 18x10 forged EC7Rs with, I believe, a 25 offset. So I'm going to be able to fit 275, 35, 18 with no rubbing issues. I did order a set of spacers as well, not from them, but then I also ordered a wheel stud kit. But anyway, you guys always complain I talk too much. Let's just get to this. Yes. Okay. So I think the biggest thing is going to be the color I went with. I went with anthracite, which is basically like, it's almost like a dark black color. Dude, I think these are gonna look so sick. It's hard picking out wheels too. Oh, bro. Are you kidding me? This is gonna, oh my gosh. Are you serious? Look at that concave. This is gonna be so perfect. Bro, it's gonna be sick. Oh, heck yeah. I am so stoked for these. The color is gonna match this color so well. And these forged, man, these are really, really light. And they just look kind of more, I don't know, they look more angular than the non-forged. These are gonna be so sick. I am stoked with these. And again, I do have studs, stud conversion kit that I got for this as well. Oh. Now I need to get these loaded up in the back of the truck so I can take them to Discount to get the RE71s mounted. All right, so this is the magic box with the, should be the stud kit. Well, it should just be the stud kit and the lugs that come with it. see. I bet they put it under, huh? Probably. Okay, need both hands. Be right back. Alright, so here we go. Stud kit as well. If you've never got a stud kit, it's really a non-glamorous thing. I went with the longer, I believe they're 90 millimeters in length, and I like the bullet nose. They do have a hex head, but I just think the bullet nose looks a little cleaner. It's what I have in my E36 as well. So now it is time to get this thing jacked up, and it's gonna live on jack stands for a little bit because in that magic box right there is the suspension. It was such a good day, gosh. Car mods, man, that's the whole reason I do this. Hopefully someday this channel will be big enough to where the car mods that I do can be paid for. I don't care if I make any money from this channel, if I can make it to where the car mods are paid for. That's all I want. Like, really, that's all I want. This stuff is awesome. All right, let's get this thing jacked up. All right, so E92 in the air, and just like the S2000, what I have to do is jack up one side and then put a piece of wood under the front tire. Then go to the other side, jack it up, put a piece of wood under that tire. Then I can slide my floor jack under the front bumper to jack it up from the front subframe. So it's a little bit more work, but got it all jacked up. Now what I'm gonna do, I was actually just thinking about it. I need to reuse these factory TPS sensors, so, TPMS sensor. But anyway, I need to reuse these factory sensors, so I'm gonna have to take these tires off as well and throw them in the back of the truck also, so then they can, I think that's gonna be the best way to do it. It's gonna be a bit of a pain in the butt, but that's the only way I can think of to do it. And then we'll probably just discard these tires because they're pretty shot. I mean, this one straight up has a screw in it. And then I'll keep the wheels and just sell the wheels separately. So next step is to just remove the tires, and then I can get a look at this suspension. Oh, man, one thing with these E92 wheels, man, they get, I don't know if it's all BMWs, I know my E36 wasn't like this, but they get stuck on the hubs like something else, man. Be ready to have a little rubber mallet if you want to take these off. So what I like to do when I install studs, I'm going to take a little wire brush and clean out the actual hole itself, and then I wire brush around the hub as well. So I'm just going to do that, and I'll get to the, I'll show you guys what to do once you get to installing the studs. It's really not complicated at all. All right, so now Apex actually says to take the studs out of the bag. They're coated in this light grease from the factory. So they say to take the studs out of the bag and then just spray them down with brake cleaner, and just let the brake cleaner clean off the grease. So yeah. So now these should be prepped to install. And now I cleaned off the hubs yesterday. So now you just want to get some Loctite ready to install these, and I'll show you the double nut method to get these tight. Alright, totally spaced. I just started working on the struts, totally spaced filming. So what I did is place a little jack stand under the lower control arm here, and went and got a 13 to loosen up the strut tower bolts that hold the strut in place. And then mine has EDC, so what you want to do is just disconnect the EDC, and then the plug that actually plugs into the strut itself to control it, there's nothing to unclip that. You just pull that straight up. So I pulled that straight up. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm assuming there's a 17 that holds the strut into the clamp down there. I haven't tested it yet, but probably a 17. But I'm going to loosen that, and look and see if there's anything else that needs to be removed before I disconnect the strut. But then I'm gonna get my jack and place it under probably the brake or maybe the studs or something like that. Jack it up a little bit, take the jack stand out, and then lower it, and that'll give me room to remove this strut itself. All right, boys, driver's side strut is out, and just like when you do anything for the first time, learning experience. So I was trying to, that strut, it slides into that little holder. So what I was trying to do was hammer it out by pushing this down with the strut still up in there. But basically what happens is there won't be enough room. So you need to leave the strut all the way into this little hole and then get it to where it's pointing out at you. And then you can have enough room to pull the strut out towards you. That's the best way I found, because again, if you try and get the strut out of the hole by pushing this down with the strut still in its area up here, you're not gonna be able to push this down far enough to then remove the strut from where it goes. All right, and as for suspension, like I said multiple times, I'm going with TCK. And if you go on their website, you'll see that there is a single and a double. After speaking with TC, they don't sell the single adjustment rears anymore, so it's only double. So they only basically do a double, and that's what I got. And he said the E92 platform just responds better to double. Oh yeah, t-shirt baby, love me a t-shirt. Okay, so some paperwork here. Most expensive coils I've ever bought. All right, boys, driver's side is done. I haven't measured yet the drop. I need to build the other coil first, and then I will make sure that it is even. But now I'm going to work my way over to the passenger side and get started on this one. I expect this one will take a lot less time than that. I learned a lot on that driver's side. Definitely different than doing the E36, but equally it's not that difficult once you figure out what to do and how to do it. So let's get started on this passenger side. See, I actually am getting the tires mounted on the new Apex wheels right now. So let's see if I can knock this out within like 30 minutes before they get the actual, before my tires are ready to be picked up. It's been a few days. I'm gonna wrap up the E92 suspension today. But you guys wanna see what a disaster looks like? Oh boy. Yep. That's it. That's what a disaster looks like, boys. So I think where we left off was this passenger side strut, and that is now in. That is good to go. So yeah, passenger side is good, driver side is good. Now we're gonna make our way to the rear. All right, so moving on to the rear. What I'm gonna do is take this out. You have to take off both side pieces, the insulation, to reach the strut tower. So I'm gonna take this off because I think this needs to come off, so then I can give myself room to pry these off. So this should just be, what in the, are you, oh, thank you, come again. Are you serious? How does it, so many questions, man. So many questions. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna remove all this stuff and deconstruct the trunk. Be right back. All right, so what I have discovered due to expert detective work, pry these open. There's some Phillips head screws down there. Probably can't see it, but they're down there. Trust me. Oh, thank goodness we got some sun. Now it's not freezing again. I'll get you inside, bud. I'm trying. I'm working on it. This thing's awesome. This thing is going to be equally as awesome. I really need a 3-car garage because I don't know. Problems. All right, so got all the Chinese takeaway vacuumed up, and it's cleaned up in here. Now I popped off the EDC, or the electronic dampening control, from the top of the struts. I believe it's a 16, it looks like, or 19 for the top of these struts. And I think that's all you have to do to remove it, would just be to loosen that. So I'm gonna get down below it and make sure nothing needs to be done before then. But I believe that is all you have to do to loosen it from the top. Rear spring is out, rear strut is out. It's really easy actually. You just disconnect the 2 bolts and that just drops down. It's much easier than jumping on the rear for the E36. That was a little bit harder to get the rear spring out. But now, basically what you do is the TC rear spring comes with this red polyurethane piece. That is going to replace the bottom. The top, this piece sits in there, and mine I just kind of knocked loose and it came out. And now what you're going to do is put in this rear adjuster, and this is going to be how you adjust the ride height. So now this will sit in there like so. The spring will go in there, and then you can adjust the ride height as wanted. Easy peasy. All right, boys, just wrapped up the passenger rear. So we are technically good to go. So, yeah, it was cold today. It was a cold one. Here's what I'm gonna do now. I'm going to clean up this absolute mess of a shop and just look over everything. Throw stuff away that needs to be thrown away. Anyway, I'm gonna clean up all of this. I'm gonna get the wheels put on. I'm just gonna go over everything as well. And then I will lower the car down. So next time you see this, the car should be lowered down. So now for the not so fun part of cleaning. All right, so here's first attempt. The rears actually look on point. The fronts, I can already tell without it even settling, that's gonna need to come down a significant amount. So I could probably lower that at least another ½ an inch. Yeah, at least. All right, boys, so here we go. I dropped it a little more, and the wheel gap is still pretty big. I might have to just bottom out the suspension. No, the rears look good. The rears are perfect to me, but the fronts definitely need to come down, but I think it was rubbing already, so I don't know. We'll have to, maybe once it settles it'll be a little bit better, but yeah, I don't know. All right, so I basically just finished up the install on with the TC Kline suspension, and well, I finished it up basically 2 days ago. But let me tell you something. If you are looking for suspension that is going to give your E90 a drop like this, you know, anything like that or anything like that, if that's the type of stance you're looking for, the TCK suspension is definitely not for you. Basically, here's what's happened. I installed the TCK suspension, and I basically put the front coil at like halfway. I lowered the car down, and it was riding like a 4x4. I mean, it had reverse rake. The front was way high. I mean, like, I could fit my whole fist in between the wheel gap and the car. It was really high. I don't know what anyone would want that setting for, basically. So I jacked it up. I checked everything because it was just absurdly high. I lowered it about halfway, probably a good inch, and it's still, I'll try and insert a picture right now, because I took one and I emailed TC and I'm like, dude, is this right? Like, it's still really high, and I basically only have like a 1/4 inch of threads left. He said, yep, that looks right. Add more camber if you want, and max out the threads if you want. But yeah, that's right. So basically that's what I've done. And you know, that comes at a cost of jacking up, lowering the car, letting it settle, jacking it up, all that. Actually, it drove me to buy quick jacks. So one, if anything good has come from this, it's that I finally manned up and bought a set of quick jacks to save my back from jacking these cars up and down. But here's the finished result from all that effort. And I mean, tell me what you guys think. So I do still think the front will settle some. I have basically maxed out the camber plates. But I mean, again, that's almost a 2-finger gap. I mean, 1.5 fingers. Now I need to wash it, and again, it will settle some. It's definitely not as low as I was hoping for, but I mean, again, this setup is going to be primarily for the track. This build is going to be a little bit more of an aggressive track build. So if that's the sweet spot for track build stuff, that's what it is. I mean, I can't give you a review of the suspension itself. I have driven it around the neighborhood to try and settle the suspension a little bit. It feels great. I mean, at low speeds it feels great, but I haven't adjusted camber, I haven't gotten alignment, I haven't adjusted rebound, haven't adjusted anything. So there's a ton of adjustability with this, and again, none of that has been touched. Also, I will say, I went with Apex 18x10 offset of 25 EC7Rs, the forged EC7s. And they claim that you can run 275/35 squared all around on those and not rub. I'm getting pretty good rubbing, not even at full lock, basically at like 1 turn. I'll show you on this car. Right here is basically hitting the fender well on the inside. So that's happening with that. But I'll do a more in-depth video on the whole setup. Next video, I feel like this one's already plenty long. So if you're new to the channel, guys, smash that subscribe. I got stuff going on with all the cars. If you're into the E36 or S2000s or the E92, smash that subscribe. I hope to see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.